I'm in pain. Emotionally, I am unwell. Hi, welcome. It was difficult.
All right, hey, what's happening, guys? So, Miss Maple here just got to see the Two Towers finally. So, tell them what you thought. Try to chunk it down like by act. Like if you had to break the whole movie into 3 parts, what kind of happens in the first third? What kind of happens?
Okay, so first portion is the Fellowship continuing to go try to find Merry and Pip, and then they end up in the forest. What forest is it?
I got nothing.
They end up in the forest, and they meet the Ents, and basically, like, they're just traveling with the Ent almost the entire movie. It's just...
Merry and Pip. I thought you meant the Fellowship. Yeah.
No, Merry and Pip, they're basically just stuck traveling with the Ents after that. The Fellowship from there kind of breaks into, like, smaller battles, I would say. They run into... How
about that guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Éomer.
Right, okay. So, anyway, they're like going, basically Fellowship's going to try to get Merry and Pippin back from the orcs, but they are under the assumption that there was no survivors, and that guy's army basically said that they, like, killed off everyone and burned all the bodies. So when they get over there, they start inspecting and find, okay, they, like, went into the forest, and they were like, literally, what would possess them to do that? That's a terrible idea. They do not enter the forest.
Well, don't they find the...
One of their belts. I think Pippin had the belt on.
Okay, yeah.
And he just released the belt because they were going to eat them. They wanted to eat their, eat their flesh.
Meat's back on the menu.
Man flesh.
Yeah,
literally like...
Man flesh.
Man flesh. They, like, sound so scary.
Right, and when they got distracted fighting each other... when Merry and Pippin got to bounce.
Was when Merry and Pippin got to
And they found Treebeard.
Right. And so then they found... Well, yeah, they climbed up on Treebeard.
Right.
And then Treebeard was questioning whether or not they were actually orcs, which took him forever to figure. Like, it took him forever to figure whether or not they were actually orcs or not. And he's like, I've never heard of halflings. Right. Like, how do I know you're not just saying that? And, like, he keeps talking about how the forest is angry and all this stuff. And it clicks almost immediately for... like, people as a watcher, I feel like it should, because they're cutting down all of those trees.
Exactly right.
To build and, like, create this army and, like, wield the steel and, like, do all of this stuff, right? And so they're like, Saruman is like, yeah, go ahead, like, go into the forest. Come to find out, Saruman was the one that's supposed to be freaking protecting them. Like, protecting the earth, like the growth and the forest itself.
If he was doing his job.
Oh my god! And then freaking Gandalf. Woo! Yeah.
Gandalf the White.
Gandalf the White, baby. Yeah. I was like, thank God. Oh yeah, because it starts and Frodo has a dream, and so like he like is freaking flying down. He's like fighting and then they land and they like fall into the water, and Frodo wakes up, but he's like having a vision, so it was true. Yeah. And then he falls into the darkness, right? So
yeah, he died.
So then it's like he's like, I feel life like re-enter me or something, and so then he comes back, and they're like, Saruman, and he's like yes, like I guess technically he's like, yes,
well, yeah, because what happened
like,
is Saruman basically has like a job to do and like his place here, and he's not doing it. So basically when he died, the like higher beings decided like, hey, we're sending you back in, and you basically now are going to be Gandalf.
Right.
You're going to be the guy doing the thing that he's supposed to be doing.
And it's like Gandalf has so like
he got like an upgrade.
Yeah, and then he has like this light amnesia, and they're like, you're Gandalf. Like, you're Gandalf. Right. Oh yeah, because they did go into the forest a little bit, and that's when they ran into Gandalf.
Exactly right, yeah.
And then Gandalf just tells them like, well, where Merry and Pippin have been taken is much safer than anywhere like any of us will be. Mm-hmm. Is it?
No, it's fine. take the battery out.
Take it out.
It doesn't
keep trying to turn on it.
Exactly right.
But yeah, Gandalf basically tells them like where he sent Merry and Pippin is like much safer than anywhere anyone else will be. Which was true, but God, freaking the Ents just they talk so freaking long.
They're trees. They got time.
That's basically the whole movie is like just them talking. And Merry and Pippin.
So then they go to Rohan, right?
So then they go to Rohan. Yeah, they finally make it there, and they're kind of, you know, like, it may not be, like, a warm welcoming, but it ends up being okay. I love that Gandalf is like, you're not going to take a staff from an old man.
Yeah.
Like, scene, acting like he didn't just get, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, you have a whole fight scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a second ago.
With Saruman in the last movie.
Well, also, like, in this movie, he beat up the Balrog, and he went punked the Fellowship in the woods. Like, they all go to, like, shoot arrows and throw stuff, and he's just like, bah, 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 bah.
You had an angelic death and came back again.
He's like, oh, but I'm so old.
So
it wasn't a warm welcome, but it was because Wormtongue was poisoning.
Yeah, freaking Wormtongue. I wish they would have wrecked him. I hate that they let him go. Everything in me wanted him to just be killed.
The guy who plays Wormtongue is the voice of Chucky from the Child's Play movie.
Oh my god. But yeah, so Wormtongue, like... He's like, I told you to take his staff. And so he's all upset about it. But, yeah, so he ends up, Gandalf is able to, like, basically exorcise that man's demons. Yeah. And get Saruman and all that, like, basically like a leech, like, get it off of him.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he's like, oh, like, I know you. And, like, it seems like, and then freaking, for some reason, my stupid brain thought that the guy that killed all those orcs outside the forest that got exiled by Wormtongue, the knight or whatever who has his little army and they had to leave Rohan. I, for some reason, thought that was the king's son. It's not. The king's son was picked up out of the river by them in one of the beginning scenes and is dead. So when the king comes out of his, like, hey, his son is dead, and it was so sad.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that was disappointing. And the acting is really good. Yeah. I was like, God, this man is, like, putting on the works right now, as if he's actually, like, mourning the death of his son. Like, the acting was, like, God, I felt like I was, like, actually, like, that was, I don't know. It just was really sad. So anyway, but I think his decisions as king were kind of annoying. Thank God it kind of worked out, I guess, a little bit. But I think that it's not necessarily that it worked out for him. I just think it's just like the portrayal of the bigger message of the story. It's like they're talking about hope and like how can, and it's like Sam goes into this entire monologue closer to the end about like hope just kind of prevailing and like, even though there's been so much darkness and despair, like, and we can't see, like, how can things get better? Like, they do. There's potential in it.
One of the things to keep in mind, too, is that, like, a lot of the humans are having to deal with Sauron's forces, like, on a regular basis, and they are in more immediate danger and threat.
Yeah.
So that's, like, a good example of showing, like, how Boromir thinks so differently than Aragorn, because Aragorn's been a ranger, kind of, like, doing ranger stuff.
Yeah, well, and also being, like, for a portion of his time being in Rivendell.
Yeah, so he's, like, 80 years old or whatever.
Yeah, he's 87, yeah. And so it's, like,
him talking to Eowyn, who's all thirsty.
Yeah, and, like, he's part of, like, kind of a specific race, and he said there's only a few of them left. So I'm just like, who else is there? Like, do we figure that? Like, do we ever see that? I was curious about that. And so
the men all have, like, really crappy attitudes, and they're all kind of, like, squabbling with each other, but they're all, like, in survival mode, and they're all, you know, so it's...
So it's because it's, like, frustrating and sad, because, like, I found myself feeling the same way about Boromir's brother, as I did about Boromir kind of in the beginning, but then it's also, like, this time I think I had, like, a little bit more understanding, and it was just, like... I was, like, literally, like, bawling my eyes out because Frodo is, like, trying to tell him, like, him and Sam are trying to tell him, and then finally we're, like, I'm like, do you see? Like, do you understand now? Like, do you get it? Like, do you see? And then Sam is like, you know why your brother died? Like, fucking just rips him a new one.
So did Sam and Frodo meet anybody interesting?
I mean, besides running into Boromir's brother, and then the Smeagol's with them the entire freaking time.
That's a big one. Yeah.
No, I know. Well, yeah, Smeagol's with them the whole time.
The whole duo turned into a trio.
So Smeagol, but then it's like, is Gollum like his... What is happening with that?
Yeah, basically he was Smeagol, and Gollum is like his...
Gollum
like, the
is
ring
like
has like twisted his brain so bad. It's like his alternate identity.
Right, because he
so
like has a lot of side conversations with himself through the whole thing. And it's like but it's like you have hope for little Smeagol. Because Smeagol is sweet. Like, Smeagol is sweet. Gollum, he's not well. Smeagol, though, but like, you see him, he like tells Gollum, he's like, go away, you know, and then he finally gets him to go away, but then it's like hard because he's so fragile.
Yeah.
And so he thinks that Frodo betrayed him when Frodo actually was trying to save him, not knowing that they were gonna like beat him and like kick him around, and he's like crying against the wall. It's so sad.
And then it kind of like Gollum comes back when Faramir is like, what did they take from you? And he's like, my precious.
Yeah,
like,
my precious. I know when I didn't want him to tell them that he had the ring but it probably wouldn't have mattered. It honestly probably wouldn't have mattered because the ring, with its intentions, like finds its way, and it got them to the city. Like it did what it wanted to, and then the ring wraith was ready and like came to try to get it. And God bless Sam. Like, for freaking last minute, like, he jumps and grabs Frodo because he's, like getting, like, it's like the ring wraith is right there with his freaking creepy-ass worm dragon.
Well, that's the thing. They got upgrades. They don't just ride horses anymore now. Now they're riding around on worms.
Worms with wings.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. So... and then it's, like, finally, like, it's like everybody has their own little path, right? So, like, where Frodo and Sam kind of end off is they're traveling again, still with Gollum, and, like, but he says something at the end, like, we'll let her kill her, like, she can do it. Where the frick is he taking them? Who?
Dun, dun, dun.
Who and why? What are we doing? This is not, like, we are ending on a rough note. Like, if that's where it's ending... I'm like, thank God I'm taking a break in between the two, this movie and the last one. I don't think I could handle it. I am vulnerable. But then the Ents, so Sam and Pippin, the Ents. Merry and Pippin end up outside the tower of
Isengard.
Yeah, so they end up in Isengard, but with Saruman and who's the snake? Who's the guy that I wanted?
Wormtongue?
What is it?
Wormtongue?
Wormtongue, yeah.
Wormtongue.
So Saruman and Wormtongue are like in the tower, and the Ents see, because they tell them, he's like, no, take us south instead of taking us, back to the Shire. He's like, because they're like, there's not going to be a Shire. Like, with all of this going on, there's not going to be a Shire. Like, it's not going to be something that's going to exist. So I
don't think that's why.
He's like, take us south, because they were like, we can, like, sneak, right? And, like, he explains, like,
I think he's trying to trick them. I think he's like, take us south because I know Saruman's burning all
right. So
he wants them to see that.
Right. So it's like he gets the Ents basically all to see that.
Because they all already said, we're not going to help. And he's like, oh, I got an idea. I'll have you go this way.
He's like, take us south.
And then you'll change your mind.
Yeah, and basically, almost immediately, immediately they can make a decision.
Quickly.
Jesus.
I know.
Criminy.
Yeah, they didn't spend 20 hours on that one.
And then, so they break the dam and, like, it basically floods everything. And it's so funny because they end up in Saruman's like little food storage area, and it's all of this food, and it's like, oh, perfect for a hobbit. Like, what a great reward for everything they've done. And then they find the pipeweed barrels, and they're like, don't be hasty, you know, to tell. Oh my gosh, what's the Ent's name?
Treebeard.
Treebeard, yeah. To not tell Treebeard, because they're like, you know, it's like a cousin to him, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems wrong.
Right. Sitting there smoking.
Yeah, sitting there smoking. So that was good. I was like, okay, that's good. And then freaking Gandalf. I forgot what he had told them. And he did. He showed up at the dawn on the 5th day. Oh. And they told me that he was like, look to the east, or it's something like that, right? And to the east, and sure enough, there he was.
Well, how were you feeling before he shows up there? Because the fight's a long one.
Okay, I was not okay. No, I was
good.
like, because it starts with them like pulling the children, and then you have all the old people, and then the elves show up.
Even Legolas like gives up. He's like, you know, all these people are going to be dead, and he's like, then I'll die with them.
Yeah, and it's like they're all, and I'm just like, oh my god, like they're just pinned in there.
Yep.
Come to find out, they could have been leading all of their people further through the cave, through a freaking tunnel out somewhere else. I was like, okay, well, why didn't we think of that? We could have done that a little bit. It doesn't matter.
The orcs would have just come, you know, and killed them anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
They can take the same route, you know?
Yeah, so, but it was terrifying. There was not, like, they show, like, it's like, this is them, and then this is, like, just the orcs. Like, it's like orcs. A billion orcs.
So many of them.
And then it's, like, 800 elves and like what would be like 200 maybe. Like,
but also the elf wasn't that cool if the elf showed up though?
Yes, yeah, no, it is.
Squash their beef a little bit, and we're like, hey, we're here to.
Yeah, and he's like, we're doing it.
Elves could have all bounced and went over to their weird elf heaven or whatever, and they decided to stay. And
they decided to stay and help out. Yeah. Also, that's really tragic too. What is her name? The elf.
Arwen.
Arwen, yeah, Arwen that was so sad. Because it's just like this tragic, they throw this tragic love story in the middle of it because it's like he's he's not immortal.
Right.
And so, but I'm just like, it's still the same thing, like love is not in vain. And he's like, her dad then is like, you know, like, but do you not love me? Like,
yeah.
And so that she leaves, and I'm like, oh my god. And then he has her necklace, and I don't want him to love anyone else. I want him to die only loving her.
Not even Eowyn?
No, no, he doesn't get to love anyone else. Like, they're too good for each other. Like, and I'm just like, oh yeah, because when he falls off the cliff, when they have like the first like mini battle after they send out those weird looking, cat
orcs right on wargs.
Orcs on wargs.
That's it.
Orcs right on wargs. Yeah, and he falls into the water, and I refused to believe he was dead. I was like, no, it's not happening like that. I'm over it. They really played into the fact that so many people died in the first one that they were like, we'll just make you think.
That's it, man.
Rude. So rude.
He could have.
So rude. And so...
now Gimli has to leave the fellowship.
Yeah, you know what? Gimli was making me laugh at times. I felt that it was inappropriate. I was like, why? It feels wrong to laugh right now.
Yeah, he's definitely like the comic relief character.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I really like him a lot now, like in this movie. He didn't really talk a lot in the last one. Like, it wasn't... Yeah. He
still talks a lot more than Legolas, who said like nothing in the first one. Did Legolas have a little more going on in this one? I think their friendship starts to blossom, like when they're fighting.
It's like Gimli and Legolas kind of like...
It's like those two kind of,
they're kind of coming together a little bit more.
Yeah, they become a little bit of a little two-bit stand-up group.
Yeah.
Because like, when they fight at Helm's Deep...
Oh, and then
they're like keeping count of how many they kill and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then, they go out, they like sneak out to get to the front, and him and Aragorn sneak out to go to the front, and he's like, don't tell the elves.
Which is it's a throwback to the in the first one when he's like, nobody tosses a dwarf.
Yeah, nobody tosses a dwarf. Yeah, and
he's like, toss me. He's like, what? He's like, don't tell the elves.
He looks at me, he's like,
Yeah.
Like, what did you just say?
Yeah, so him and Legolas have a really fun little rivalry.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm literally like crying because people are dying, and then he's cracking a joke, but then it's like, I have to laugh. Like, I can't not like laugh about it.
I think the director wanted there to be some dynamics, because if it's just too sad too long in a row, then
they knew that battle was gonna be going.
Run out, and you'll just like not feel anything because you just kind of hit your limit. So if they can break it up with some moments of like them counting jokes, or Legolas like sliding a skateboard down a set of stairs and stuff.
Yeah, I know. I was like, whoa. That's it. Yeah, it's like he didn't necessarily like. I don't think like particularly say much more. I mean, he definitely has you see more of him.
Yeah.
But it's like you see like he's just like badass.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is.
Like he's so nimble. Like
he's probably pound for pound the best fighter on the team.
The best fighter. Yeah. Like if I had to pick, like if it was like I was picking a player and I got to like, I might like for fun I would pick him.
Like he would be my combat character. And you needed a champion.
Yeah, like
it's pretty good.
That man has built-in auto aim.
Yeah, he really does. He while sliding downstairs.
While sliding down the stairs, yeah, on a shield skateboard.
Very true, very true.
So yeah, so it's really like it's like God, it seemed like hope was gonna be lost, but thank God, and then Gandalf showed up. Exactly how he said he would.
Yeah.
And they held it off as much as they could, but so many people died.
Oh, yeah.
And then orcs ran into the forest. Not good for them. Not good for them, because those trees are mad.
Yeah, they are.
Those trees, and they said the whole time, they said that them trees have been upset for a while. And then they just gave them a reason. Like, it was like literally the boundary was pushed. And so I was like, thank God. And like when I was crying like tears of joy when they were coming down that hillside, like I was like, thank God. Because I was thinking, I was like, if they can get reinforcements inside the castle, right? And then get the orcs and all of the orc whatever to come in. And then have somebody come in from the back.
Right.
Perfect. Because then they barricade them in the middle. They don't have any way to, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's basically like, whatever, like, they just trap them in. So it's like they get it at the very end. And it's just intense to see. Like, they all fight so hard. And they just keep going.
Yeah, just millions of orcs.
I know, they just don't stop.
So where's the movie leave you off?
I'm really scared for Frodo. I'm absolutely terrified. I don't know what Smeagol's doing. And it sucks because, like, it's like at first, like, Sam didn't want to trust them, right? Like, they didn't want to be very trusting of Smeagol. But then it's like, now they built trust, so they think that they're working together. Mm-hmm. But then Smeagol now feels betrayed. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to probably be too comfortable thinking that they can trust him. So something bad is going to happen. I mean, I think it'll be okay. Okay. Like, it'll be all right. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, it's stressful, too, because, like, Smeagol is such a crappy little guy that, like, any of the human fighters would, be no problem with him. But it's, like, these two basically children-sized people.
I know. They're, like,
Smeagol's,
all
like,
the same.
dangerous to
yeah,
them,
they're, like, the kind of the same size.
Uh-huh. And one of them's really crazy. Yeah. The other two aren't, So,
yeah.
No, for sure.
And it's also, like, having Smeagol, it's, like, because you get tension between Sam and Frodo, but I think nothing that Sam said was wrong, like, Sam was right in what he was saying to Frodo, but it's, like, Frodo also is, like, looking at Smeagol and realizing, like, that could be him. In a way.
Well,
like,
and also, like,
how the ring has just taken, I think a lot of, and I'm grateful because a lot of the people who commented on the first watch through that I did for the first movie really, like, said that the movies don't do a great job of depicting how long Frodo has been affected by the ring. Right. And, like, how long they've actually been traveling. And I think you said that to me too. Like, in the books, it's like they're actually, like, Frodo has been getting affected by the ring for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's not like they just traveled.
This whole thing hasn't been like a week. It's been like
it's been a very long time, and so it's like you just see Frodo and he is just going downhill.
He's got those dark eyes.
I know, and
Sam's
then he's
just trying to make taters,
like snuggling the ring. Mm-hmm. He's like laying there with it at night, like. Oh.
Which Sam also knows that Smeagol wants the ring back too, or Gollum wants the ring back, and so it's like you can't really trust the guy completely because he's if there's one thing he wants, it's to get the ring back. So it's like you can't, we're not just homies. Like, how is he going to feel about us going to destroy the ring that he wants back so bad? So oh yeah.
Yeah. So. I mean, if I have to predict what's going to happen in the last movie, I think obviously we're finally... hopefully we'll make it to freaking Mount Doom, I guess. Oh, man.
What do you think the Fellowship's going to do?
Oh, God, they're gonna have to show up. They're gonna have to... There was, like, mention of, like, well, why don't we go out and try to find reinforcement, right? And, there was, like, a comment of how, well, we're not so lucky to have made friends, like, the same as you. So I think that they'll be able to go back and kind of, like, slowly get, like, more reinforcements, maybe?
Yeah.
I wonder if Gandalf and Saruman will fight again. That would be interesting.
It's like, I'm leveled up, son.
He's like powered up. Died and came back big stronger. Yeah. He's probably ripped under that robe. Yeah. He's like just super buff.
Yeah, so that's the Two Towers, everybody. Thanks for watching.
And this has turned into a Gandalf simp page.
Gandalf daddy.
Oh man. But yeah, so I mean I don't really know what else to think. I'm really scared though. I'm scared.
Poor Frodo.
Poor Sam. I don't know. I'm just and then everybody's saying Frodo's probably gonna die. What the hell, dude?
You said that too.
I said I don't
think
he can. I don't think he can do it alone. I think he can get it done.
Well, now he's got Gollum.
But I think he needs people. Okay, well, Smeagol is fine. Gollum, he's like. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, and that's what you've seen too.
Then I will be master.
But that's the hard part for them is that they could use help, but anyone that they get around ends up getting corrupted by the ring. So, like, you saw him hanging out with Faramir. Like, it would have been nice if they could have been like, oh, yeah, we'll just get you on some horses and get you right over there. But
yeah,
they're technically safest when they're alone. But it's also obviously super dangerous to be alone because the land is treacherous and there's freaking dragon flying.
Hopefully, Sam still has that rope, and Gollum had an issue with that. Initially.
Oh, I think he was just being a prima donna. He's like,
I know he's really dramatic.
And
But I mean, like, I don't know. Oh, well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he just didn't want
I'm looking for hope in...
Because he's acting like that with all the, like, potatoes and stuff. What are taters?
Yeah. And he's like, you ruined it by cooking it.
Exactly
he's
right.
like, it's spoiled. Give it to me raw.
Like, mash and boil them, put them in a stew.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
catch you guys in some amount of time.
Yeah, and then on the next episode.
Catch you on the flip side.
On the flip side. Bye, guys.